Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me. All right, I am going to do a quick update on the Nicola Bulley case. I am still working on part 3, and I just keep finding things. And so it's making it longer. And then I have some personal things going on at home that are taking up some of my time. So I apologize for the delay on that, but I am still working on it. And because I'm still working on part 3 and possibly a part 4 with the information I've been finding and being sent through my emails, I'm going to use some of Eddie's direct material for this. Some clips from the video that he just put out yesterday. Thank you, Eddie, for the tag so that I was able to see this video come up. I'm going to be using a few clips of his video titled Nicola Bulley, Just For You, Something's Gonna Happen. I will try to remember to put that link in the description box, but I usually also put up the thumbnail right about here so you guys can recognize it. Most of you came from Eddie, so most of you guys know who he is, but if not, Eddie's Vinyl Break is the title of the channel, and he's been doing this case longer than I have. I was working on a different case when this happened, so I didn't get to a lot of things quick enough. He has, so that's why I'm just going to be using some of his stuff, and I want to thank Eddie for consistently working on this case. So he has put together clips of everything you need to see for what I'm trying to prove and what I've been trying to prove in the videos that I've been doing. He has clipped them all together very nicely, so I'm going to be using that. Obviously, I'm going to add my own stuff to this as well and my opinions. But if you want to see his, go on over there if you haven't seen it already. So because I want to get this out ASAP, Eddie has some information that I've been saying about the family and friends of hers that from day one has led me to believe Paul and Peter when they said that there's no way that Nicola was in the water. And like I said, even though I'm getting these clips from Eddie, we don't always agree on everything. We have a different perspective on things. He's a male, I'm female. We're a different age range. There's certain things that give people the perspective for a reason. I'm not saying that he's wrong. I know he's not saying that I'm wrong. We think about these things a little bit differently. So this is not going to be exactly what he's saying. If you want his opinion, go to his channel. I just want to say that I'm not going to be sitting here repeating his theory. I do have a different perspective.
So Maria Solars, that's the name that I want to give a big shout out to right away, because Maria went down to St Michael's on Weir, the river down there, down to the Weir, and she recorded this footage that you're looking at now. It's quite interesting because in the comments quite a few people, by the way, thank you Maria, thank you so much. I'm using your footage for very good reasons. I've got a handful of subscribers now, and it'd be nice to share this footage and what it means. So this was taken just yesterday, and I thought it would be really nice to talk about it. What are we seeing here? What does this all mean? I've had comments in my comments room saying, Eddie, did you know that Maria had uploaded a video of the police in the river? And one of the things someone said to me was that just prior to this footage being recorded, she witnessed the police this side of the Weir. One of them was floating on his back towards the Weir. Everyone's getting really confused about what's going on. Of course, the Lancashire police wouldn't want us to speculate, right? But of course, this is what you do. If you're seeing a couple of police officers in the River Weir, and one of them is floating on his back towards the Weir, and then, as you can clearly see, they're wading around the bend there, of course we're going to speculate. That's what we do. That's what the human brain does. We get inquisitive, and we're supposed to be inquisitive.
So we have attention being redirected to the Weir now. Now, almost 3 months later, it appears some sort of reenactment might be taking place. We have police in the river around the Weir. I cannot say for certain what they're doing, but I can tell you what it looks like they're doing. To me, it looks like they're trying to see if a body could make it over the Weir. While I'm glad that they are doing this reenactment of sorts, because it is necessary, I don't know that they've done the proper testing with the river to know that it's the same as it was on that day that she would have gone over it. And that could have been any day between January 27th until she was found. The river flow at that time of day would matter. If This is supposed to be a legit reenactment or a legit way of finding out whether or not her body could have gone over that weir. They're not even doing it right. So I'm not exactly sure what the point of this is. A proper reenactment would be them making a dummy weighing the same as her, putting on the clothing that she allegedly had on that day, putting the dummy in the water in different areas of the river and seeing where the river would take her, and if it would eventually take her to where she was found. And I don't see them doing that. Therefore, this testing that they're doing wouldn't even be accurate, in my opinion. Having a cop, a male officer that weighs probably 50 plus pounds more than she does, wearing completely different clothing, I mean, that can't be accurate, in my opinion. It can't be accurate. The flow of the river is different now than it was then. The depth is different now than it was then. And that would play a key role as to how far a body would travel. And according to Peter Falding, bodies don't typically travel too far from where they went in. And he has over 20 years of experience.
Right, the day Nicola went missing, supposedly here, the mobile phone was found. It was thoroughly searched by police divers, very professionally done, and normally a body would go straight to the bottom. It's been cleared, but if anything has drifted down, if Nicola went in upstream, a lot further up, a body could move down this area. So we've been retasked to do this area again. It gives us total confidence that she's not here. We just need to rule everything out. Nicola, somebody could have put the phone on the bench. Somebody could have found it and put it on the bench, just on the nearest bench. We don't know. Nobody knows. She could be in this part of the river. If Nicola is not here, then I don't know where she's gone. She's disappeared off the face of the earth, and I'm pretty confident in saying that.
I said in one of my videos, someone was questioned. It was Curtis Media who questioned this man, and he asked him whether or not this has ever happened before, someone falling into the river in this location. And the man said no, that it had never happened before. And that was to his knowledge. Okay, so it could have happened, but to this man's knowledge, it hadn't happened. But he did say that he had witnessed sheep had fallen in before, but that the sheep never made it over the weir. The bodies would get stuck at the weir, and that's where people would find them.
Right, this is a very tidal river, so the tide comes in, the tide goes out. We worked on a job a few years ago where a sheep was being carried down on the current on the ebbing tide, and on the flooding tide it would come back to the same place every night, a dead sheep. It didn't move, it didn't go far. If you went missing near an estuary, you could go out to the sea, but things tend to move up and down with the tides. It's an awful long stretch of river with a lot of shallows. She would have been found by now in the shallows.
Again, I know that they are sheep. They could be quite heavy with all their wool. They're anatomically different than a human being. It was something that stuck out to me to keep in mind that Nicola would have probably been found at that weir had she gone in where it was assumed that she had gone in, or where it was hypothesized that she had gone in.
But again, I stress this, that if Nicola had gone in that morning, that day, at this point, I believe, like us, we're divers, that police divers would have found her that day. That's what this mystery is all about. It's very strange.
We know that there is now a forensic pathologist who is going to be taking a look at all of the evidence. Unfortunately, the only evidence he has to take a look at is the body, because nothing was ever cordoned off. Not where she was last seen, not where her phone was at the bench area, not where the dog was, and not where the body was found. In all 23 days of people searching desperately to find Nicola in the river, where it was hypothesized that she would be, nobody found her. Then they call the search off, and all of a sudden, a psychic has this feeling. He decides, you know what? I'm going to check my intuition and try to get a read on where this woman could be. Oh, guess what? She's in the river right here, where it's been thoroughly searched for 23 days. Make it make sense, people. The reason I believe that Paul said he was 100% certain that Nicola would not be found in the river is because of Peter Falding. Peter Falding is an expert in his field, and he was 100% sure that if Nicola were in the river, he would have found her. One of the many police divers would have found her. And the police are trying to discredit Peter Falding, which in turn discredits Paul. And many people are wondering, why didn't Paul tell Peter what was really going on? Now, I've spoken about social media posts that were made by friends of Nicola's telling her to come home, and that was all on her Facebook, and I never grabbed any of it. I wish I would have grabbed them. from the start because I'm having a really hard time finding anything that I noticed from the past. And I had a bunch of stuff downloaded on my computer that I ended up running out of space. For whatever reason, I shouldn't run out of space. I freaking download all these attachments and whatever. Anyway, I had to delete a lot of things. And I deleted a lot of stuff without thinking. I needed to get what I needed on my computer for the videos that I was about to put out when I was editing. And I could have deleted all the photos because the photos are easy to find, but I deleted a lot of the Facebook stuff and the Twitter stuff and Instagram stuff. And I really wish that I didn't do that because I can't get it back, and I was hoping maybe some other people had this information, but whatever. And no use crying over spilled milk, right? I can't get it back. I can't get it back. But Eddie has a tweet that he found from a woman named Nadia Fell. This is what that tweet says. Nikki, I know you haven't got your phone, but if by miracle you see this, please know you are so loved. If you need a safe place, Mia's room is sat empty. You can have it, no questions asked. We just need to know you're okay. We all miss you. You know where I am. Eddie also found some liked tweets that Nicola liked that kind of show her struggles may have been worse than what some people thought, including her family. During Paul's interview with Dan Walker, Eddie brought up how Paul spoke the world of Nicola. Everyone spoke the world of Nicola, and no one mentioned in any of these interviews her struggles.
As soon as she was reported missing, following the information that was provided to the police by her partner Paul, and based on a number of specific vulnerabilities that we were made aware of, Nicola was graded as high risk.
I do think that it's interesting that when you watch Paul speak to Dan, how easily and coldly he lies. On one hand, you've got Becky Smith clearly saying that information given to her by Paul was that she was all of those things that made her vulnerable. Menopause, depressed, anxiety, coupled with a drinking problem. And then he sat there bullet pointing to Dan that she was a wonderful person, a pillar of strength. Now you might say that's not lying, but I think it is.
Now Eddie and I said we don't agree on everything, but as I say, everybody perceives things differently. And it's not just based on your eyes and what you visually see, but it can also be based on past experiences, things that you yourself have been through, where you can put yourself in the position of someone else, and it brings about a different perspective.
She is fun. She is loving. She is, if you're friends with her, she is the most loyal friend that you could ever have.
I don't believe Paul lied. I believe that he believed Nicola would be coming home. And he didn't want to say on public TV what was really going on recently with Nicola. He gave the information to the police. He trusted the police with that information. The police did not release that information until after Paul's interview. So in my opinion, they played him. He trusted them that giving out that information to the public would not be helpful at that time. I can almost guarantee the police said, do not say these certain things because we are not saying those things yet, and it could be disruptive to the investigation. Talk about the Nicola that you know and love and who she really is. Nicola was not her vulnerabilities. Nicola was the woman Paul and Emma and her family said that she was. I think oftentimes people are looked at as their issues. Oh, you're an alcoholic, so you're a bad person. Oh, you're having mental illness issues. You're a hot mess. The thing is, you can be all of those things that Paul said Nicola was and still be struggling with an addiction or a mental illness. Things aren't always so black and white. There is gray area. You can be a wonderful mother, friend, partner, and still be struggling with alcohol or mental issues. Mental issues like depression, anxiety, panic disorder. You can be struggling with alcohol and still have a case of water in the back of your car. I mean, I'm sorry to even bring that up, but I'm not, because that is one of the most ridiculous comments I've ever gotten. Nicola can't be having problems with alcohol. She had water bottles in the back of her car. She looks too healthy. When people think of an alcoholic, they immediately think of someone who has their life in shambles. They're not wearing makeup anymore. They don't care about their appearance. They don't ever leave their house. They just sit inside and drink. That's called end-stage alcoholism. But as I've always said, I do not think she was an alcoholic. And certainly she wasn't in the end stages of alcoholism, where all you do is drink. Now, these are only speculations, of course, but I would be willing to bet that Nicola had periods of time where she was doing really well. And then she would have periods of time where she wasn't. And during the times where she was doing well, she didn't touch alcohol at all. She was her normal self. But then she would go through a rough patch and she would maybe use alcohol to cope with it. From all outward appearances, Nicola wouldn't have looked like she was struggling with anything. I have also heard many people, including women older than Nicola, saying that she was too young to be going through menopause. And while menopause does typically begin for most women closer to their 50s, and sometimes not even until their 60s, some women begin to go through perimenopause as early and as young as 35 years of age. And the perimenopause can even be worse than the actual menopause for many women. And it's not just about hot flashes and night sweats. A lot of it is anxiety and depression and symptoms of almost like a midlife crisis. I heard Nicola's father speaking in the family interview, and he said something that stuck out to me as something that Nicola may have been concerned with. He may have spoken to Nicola about this. He said in that interview something along the lines of, "We're getting older," meaning he and his wife, and the kids and the grandkids and time with them mean more to us than they ever have before.
It's been very difficult. We're such a close-knit family. We talk to each other, both our children, Louise and Nicola, and the children every day. There's not a day goes by without talking to them. And this has just emptied our lives at the minute. We just feel so empty.
How much are you missing now?
Oh, don't. It's hard. It's hard. We're such a close-knit family. We are a close-knit family, I'm sorry. But we're such a close-knit family. We do anything for any one of us, and the children would do the same for us. We're getting on in life. And, you know, the grandchildren and our own children are more important to us as we're getting older.
I'm 43, and I've begun having symptoms of perimenopause. I'm not in full-on menopause. I'm not trying to say I have every single symptom. But in the last 2 years, my anxiety and my depression has gone into overload. Nicola was very close with her family, and I'm extremely close with mine. I speak to my mom every day too, and there are hardships that I have gone through in the last 2 years that I have not told my mom. I worry about my parents aging. I have thoughts all the time of how I miss my childhood and I want some of those years back and I'm never going to have them again, and I get caught up in it to the point where I end up sobbing in the middle of a beautiful day. The only person that I have told a lot of this to is my partner, my boyfriend. Because one, we live together. He sees me all the time. He can tell that something's wrong. And he is my best friend. I can't tell you, though, that if I went missing today, he would know exactly what I was wearing when I left. I have a ton of boots and shoes and coats. I'm a typical female in that way. The main coat that I wear is considered ankle length, but it goes just below my knees. I even switch my purses out at random. And I'll be like, "Oh, I forgot my purse. Can you go grab it?" And which one? You know? And aside from that, I can't see him going on national television and airing out all of the things that I have told him in private. Not if he thought I was coming back, and not if he thought that I just left because maybe I just needed to clear my head. As weird and as out of character as it would be, I can't see him airing out all my dirty laundry on public TV. That being said, if Paul thought that Nicola were so far gone that she would possibly take her own life, I believe he would have said something. I don't believe she was in the mindset of taking her own life, though. I believe that, like many women, she knew this is a part of the process of entering middle age, and she would get through it, like many other women before her. But there obviously was someone who she did confide in with how much she was actually struggling. And I think that if it isn't Paul, maybe it was this other woman. I think it's very sad that those people were not encouraged to speak up. I believe that Paul was trying to keep her integrity intact with the public because he was hoping that she would come home, and he didn't want to air out all of her dirty laundry, knowing that if and when Nicola came home, she would be labeled at that point. She would never have a normal existence again. And that's obviously just my opinion, but to me, it makes perfect sense. Did this help or hurt the investigation? I don't know. I don't think we can know that with certainty. My blame still solely lies with the police in charge of this investigation.
Our main working hypothesis, therefore, is that Nicola has sadly fallen into the river, that there is no third party or criminal involvement, and that this is not suspicious, but a tragic case of a missing person. But anything could have happened with the dog, whereby Nicola may have gone, and I don't wish to speculate in that we don't know, but it is possible as the dog was loose and off the lead that there may have been an issue with the dog that led her to go near to the water's edge. She puts the phone down to go and deal with the dog momentarily, and Nicola may have fallen in.
I believe that when Emma is talking about the hypothesis versus facts, I don't think she's talking about social media detectives or alternative media. They have issues with Sky News and one of the other mainstream media outlets by them. They were misquoted by these people, and these people pushed this police narrative.
And I just wanted to quote, so what we're saying is, what struck a chord, she said the search continues to no avail, and then obviously a hypothesis is on limited information. And when we're talking about a life, we can't base it on a hypothesis. Surely we need this factual evidence.
Emma wanted facts, not hypotheses. Who publicly had hypotheses? The police.
And as any senior investigating officer does, you form a number of hypotheses. That is scenarios which are possible from the information to hand. I made it clear that it was my working hypothesis at that time, based with all the facts, that the main hypothesis I was working on at that time was that Nicola had gone in the river. This has been misconstrued in the press and said that that was what I said. I said that was my main working hypothesis at that time, and that remains my main working hypothesis. I think it's clear to see that the amount of effort, hours worked, resources that we have put into this investigation, that we have always been open-minded. At the minute, with the information that we have received and reviewed, there is not a single piece of information or evidence to suggest that there is any third-party involvement in this investigation. And that continues and will continue to do so until we have reviewed all the information received.
They didn't want the public to listen to the police's hypothesis. They wanted the public to go off of facts. The problem is we didn't have many. The police even said in their own way that they didn't have any facts, that she went into the river.
But we don't know why Nicola may have entered the water if she did.
I know earlier in the week you were searching the river for signs that she'd fallen in. Did you find anything? Is there anything to support that hypothesis?
No, not so far.
They also had no facts that anything else happened, such as third-party involvement. But that's because they never searched for it. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. I believe Emma was speaking about the police when she made those statements. The only people that were asked to stop their speculations were certain members of TikTok who were breaking into Paul's social media accounts and people who were just deliberately spreading rumors. TikTok is known for this. These TikTokers are not true crime journalists. They're not out for the truth. They're out for clicks and views. And they're out for a popularity contest of who can spin the best story. They are the TMZ and the Daily Mail of mainstream media, the National Enquirer of news. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about justice. They don't care about the victim, and they don't care about the victim's family. They give all of us a bad name. That's why I have never considered myself an armchair detective or a keyboard warrior. I've said it in other videos. I'm just someone who cares about the truth when it comes to these cases, no matter what that truth may be. I care about getting the truth out because I care about real justice. Real justice. Not going after people off of a hunch. Because if they put the wrong person behind bars or we waste time on the wrong things, there is no justice. This is the main reason police won't release certain things, because people will run with it and damage the investigation.
Police have been given a further extension of 48 hours to interview and charge Paul Ansell. Paul Ansell has been held in custody since Wednesday morning under suspicion of kidnap and the murder of Nicola Bulley. Police say that new evidence has come to light and the investigation is now going in the right direction. Local residents have been advised to stay at home and lock their doors.
Damage the integrity of the victim and their family, and cause people to make phone calls on information that is not relevant to the case. And it does take away from the investigation. It takes away from the truth. So yeah, I wanted to get this out to you guys. I wanted to show you what's been going on. What do you think they're doing here? Are they doing some kind of half-assed reenactment? Are they looking for evidence? I don't know. In my opinion, it's all too late. It's all too late. Too little, too late. Like I said, I'm working on part 3 right now, and probably a part 4, because there's just so much people have been sending me. I am trying to comment back to every comment, or at least give a heart so you know that I've read it. I'm trying to answer back every email. Like I said, there's some things been going on here. I've had some issues with my vehicle, and I'm not able to get my kids where they need to go, and money that needs to go towards fixing this stupid car of mine. That's like never-ending issues. But anyway, I apologize for not being as quick as a lot of other channels, but I do spend a lot of time double checking things, and I want everything to be accurate by the time I upload. So I will see you guys on the next one. Please have a great day. Please have a great rest of your week. One more day. It's gonna be Friday. I'm hoping that next week is gonna be a better week than this week was. That's what I'm hoping. So if you guys are in the same boat as me, just know you're not alone. We're all going through it. Talk to you guys on the next one.